What's up? How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another video. Before we get into it, I want to start by talking about kind of what my plans are in terms of how often I'm going to be uploading on here and what my plan is. So, I'm in college, and it's not going to be super easy for me to get videos up on here as much as I'd probably like to. With that said, I'm going to try to do once a week, and so that's my ultimate plan. In the next couple weeks, I'm going to be traveling. I'm going to be heading home for the break, which I think I should still be able to get videos up. Probably not Christmas week. I'll probably take that week off. But next week I should have a video, and then the week after Christmas I should have a video, and then after that we'll kind of see how it plays out once I get going with my schedule next semester and everything like that. But getting to the video, I'm going to be discussing the Cubs' two free agent relief signings so far this offseason. Phil Maton and Hobie Milner. I'm going to talk about why I think those are good deals, why I think the value plays an important factor with the Cubs moving forward this offseason and other moves that they might make, why these guys can add value to the 2026 Chicago Cubs, and why their profiles are very unique but can also be extremely important to the 2026 Cubs. So getting into it, Phil Maton signs for $14.5 million over 2 years, which is very, very rare for the Cubs. They usually, historically, have not handed out multi-year deals to relievers. So this is telling. They really like Maton, I would think. They really like his profile. They like what they see, and they think he projects well heading into even 2027. So in 2025, with the Rangers, 61 and 1/3 innings pitched and 2.79 ERA. He was very good. He produced very well for the Rangers. He has a very unique profile, like I said, both of these guys do. And it's kind of surprising, some of the things. So, looking at his fastball, which is not his primary pitch, his fastball sat about 89 miles per hour in 2025, which is very rare in today's game. Usually, you'll see guys, I think the average fastball is somewhere around 94 miles an hour now. So 5 miles an hour below league average. But he still finished in the 95th percentile with a 32.7% strikeout rate and in the 98th percentile with a 36.2% whiff rate, which is huge. The big reason for that is that everything he throws moves, everything he throws spins. He's very good at getting spin on the ball, getting movement on the ball, and that causes hitters to be off balance constantly because they're having to guess what he's going to throw. They don't have any one pitch that they can sit on. He throws his curveball 38% of the time, his cutter 36% of the time, and then his changeup and sinker, I think, are both around 17%. So that's huge in that profile. He always has guys off balance, like I said, and that is also another big part of his game, which is quality of contact. So having those guys off balance, he's going to get people out in front. He's going to get people maybe sitting off speed and getting surprised by his 89-mile-an-hour cutter, which don't hear very often. It's kind of a funny MLB player being behind on an 89-mile-an-hour cutter fastball. But it works. His 84.8 mile an hour average exit velocity was in the 99th percentile in 2025. His 3.8% barrel rate was in the 98th percentile, and his 30.7% hard hit rate was in the 99th. So he was absolutely elite at limiting hard contact in 2025, and that's huge. You don't see many relievers more complete than that. When he's like, what I mean is he's able to generate chase, whiffs, strikeouts, also get people to roll over, pop up, and not hit home runs. So that's huge. And looking at the value of his contract, it makes sense that the Cubs would give a guy like that 2 years, even though he's 32 years old. I believe he's 32. But he's at a very good price. $7.25 million annually is very good, especially in today's market. We saw Devin Williams got $17 million a year for 3 years, coming off a season where he had near 5 ERA. I know his metrics are very good, but at some point the results do matter. So this is a very good move for the Cubs. One last thing with Maton, I'm going to look at his primary pitches. So his curveball, which he throws 38% of the time, held hitters to a 136 batting average, which was 5th among curveballs thrown 30 or at least 300 times this year. His 15.3% hard hit rate was 2nd in MLB. His 41.6% whiff rate was 12th in the MLB. And then his cutter, which is just below that, 36% of the time, held hitters to a 215 batting average and a 32.9% whiff rate. So all of his pitches move, like I said. He gets strikeouts, limits hard contact, and he's on a very team-friendly deal, at least it would seem. So we'll see how he produces in 2025, but I think he projects well. I think he'll perform well, and I really like this profile for the Cubs. Moving on to Hobie Milner, who signed a deal for 1 year, $3.25 million for 2026. In 2025, with the Rangers also, 70.1 innings pitched and a 3.84 ERA. So surface level, he did not produce like Maton did, but he didn't get as much money as Maton did. But there's definitely some very, very big positives about his profile, as well as I think the Cubs may be able to unlock something with him that would allow him to produce at a higher level in 2026. So we'll look at, first of all, what makes him so unique. So he's a left-hander who has a negative 6-degree arm angle, and his fastball sits about 87 miles per hour. So like I said, both of these guys are super unique, especially Milner. Even with that profile, he still only had a 19.8% strikeout rate, which is not great, but he's very good at limiting hard contact. His 88.4% average exit velocity was in the 73rd percentile, and his 36.8% hard hit rate was in the 79th percentile. So that's good. He was prone to barrels at about a little bit below league average rate, but that should still play decently well at Wrigley Field, because in recent years it has not been hitter friendly. It's been very pitcher friendly, not huge for home runs, and so that should play well at Wrigley Field. There's two main things that I'm very excited about with him. Make that three things. First, his 53.8% ground ball rate in 2025 was in the 91st percentile, and he's going to play so well in front of the Cubs defense, infield defense. Assuming Matt Shaw is a opening day third baseman, there's some discussions this offseason. We don't know how it's going to play out, so I'm going to assume Matt Shaw is going to open at third base. He's elite. He was a Gold Glove finalist. We know he can play third base well. Shortstop, Dansby Swanson's won multiple Gold Gloves. He didn't win one in 25, but he was still very good defensively. Second base, Nico Horner was a Gold Glove winner in 2025, and he was obviously pretty clearly the best defensive second baseman in baseball in 2025. So, and then even at first base, Michael Busch. Metrics don't love him, but he's still very good. Second, he is a matchup nightmare for left-handers. Like I said, he's got that big, wide arm angle. He's throwing negative 6 degrees. It's not easy on left-handed batters, who had a 208 batting average and a 526 OPS against him in 2025. So, that is very big. If there's right-handed pitcher, Cade Horns working into the 6th inning, walks a guy with two outs, you got a big lefty coming up. You can turn to Hobie Milner, who's probably going to induce some sort of weak contact and get an out. At least statistically speaking, that's what the stats would imply. That would be the likely scenario. Third, Counsell has familiarity with him and managed him when he was with the Brewers. In Milner's final season, with Counsell managing him in Milwaukee, he had a 1.82 ERA over 64 1/3 innings pitched. So that's huge. I think maybe that familiarity may be a reason why he was drawn to Chicago and why maybe he seems a little bit cheap. I'm really excited about that. Counsell knows the guy. He knows how to manage him, knows how to work his workload, knows when he performs well, and everything like that. So all in all, looking at these two contracts, $10.5 million annually combined. That is huge. These are two guys that can produce at a high level for the Cubs in 2026. I think they will. And it frees them up and makes them more flexible in the starting pitching market, maybe the bat market, and maybe the rest of the way in the bullpen market. So I know a big argument is that you want the Cubs to spend more, but realistically speaking, they're probably not going to go past the first tax. So getting two guys for $10.5 million combined who are going to probably produce well in 2026 is huge. That allows them to go target guys like Michael King, target guys like Tetsuya Imai, maybe even look to trade guys and then add someone like Bregman. It's a really big deal, in my opinion. I think this is probably one of the better scenarios that could have played out so far. And I know we're getting antsy as fans for them to make a big move because neither of these are huge moves, but I think they're very valuable moves that are going to be important to the 2026 season. Because without these guys, maybe they went out and got Devin Williams for $17 million annually, and now they only have $25 or $30 million left to spend. So they go get Michael King and then you're missing a bat. I don't know. I mean, maybe they don't end up with a bat anyway, or maybe they don't feel like Michael King's worth $22 million or $25 million, spending all of the rest of their offseason money on one player, so they end up coming in $25 million short of the first tax. I don't know how it plays out, but I think these two deals do a great job of discouraging that and allowing the Cubs to potentially make a move like that. So, with that being said, that's about it. Those are my thoughts on these deals. If you have any thoughts on that, feel free to comment or DM me on Twitter. And let me know what you guys think of the video. I hope you enjoyed, and I thank you guys for listening. I'll see you next time.